Welcome to Doug in Exile. I hope you'll reward me and my research by giving us a subscribe. It really helps get the word out and spread this news out all over the internet. Mar-a-Lago judge, stark ruling. Jury sees the secret files or Trump wins. What does that mean? Remember, this is Jack Smith was trying to cover up these files. He did not want you to know about their redacted statements. And Judge Aileen Cannon said, no, let everyone see them. Jack Smith kept pushing back, going, you're going to give away secret FBI probes and other secret investigations we have on Trump that we're trying to keep hidden. And Judge Cannon has looked at these documents behind the scenes and said, no, you're going to release these files to the public or Trump wins this whole case. So of course he's going to have to release them, or Jack Smith has a real conundrum in front of him. The MAGA-friendly federal judge who keeps siding with Donald Trump in the Mar-a-Lago classified records case has forced prosecutors to make a stark choice: allow the jurors to see a huge trove of national secrets or let him go. Now, it's not entirely fair to say that this judge keeps siding for Donald Trump. She actually keeps siding with the Constitution and rule of law and does not bend over backwards to give favor to Jack Smith. So that's what the other Democrat judge appoints do, is they give unprecedented favor and schemes over to Jack Smith. This judge is just being fair, and she's being called bury the needle for Trump, which I don't believe she's shown any evidence of favoritism toward Trump yet. Department of Justice Special Counsel Jack Smith must now choose whether to allow jurors at the upcoming criminal trial to peruse the many classified records found at the former president's South Florida mansion, or give jurors instructions that would effectively order them to acquit him. That is, she's probably going to say something like, you're either going to see the documents yourself, or Jack Smith is not going to let you see these documents, and you cannot render Trump as guilty for what you cannot see him being guilty of. You have to read the documents and you tell the world if you think Trump did anything bad by holding on to these documents. She's actually entrusting a jury with an opinion. And Jack Smith is saying, no, don't let the jury see anything. We can't let them make an informed decision. That is not favoring Trump. That's favoring our justice system. It is dignifying the jury as being adult enough to make a decision. It's saying they're equal to the kind of people and FBI agents that would redact all this information. They're equals. Alternatively, Smith could appeal to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, where more experienced judges have already overturned Cannon and reined her in. Is he going to do that? But doing that will only further delay a trial that's at least 3 months behind schedule, entirely by the judge's own design. That is entirely false. It is not because of the judge. The judge is following a normal schedule, and Jack Smith keeps wanting her to speed up. And she says, no, I won't speed this up. I'll do a normal schedule. So again, I like when this is a Democrat slanted article, and I like hearing them bring this out, because you have to see how this kind of stuff is reported. That she's already been overturned. And by the way, my case is made if Jack Smith does not try to overturn Cannon and take this to a court of appeals. Okay. If he does not do that, then it proves that he's too afraid to delay this thing. And his thing is all about the timing. He does not care about justice, because justice would not care about timing. It would just go, you know what? We're going to have to take our time on this, get it done right. And he can say, I must appeal this incorrect decision up to a higher 11th Circuit Court, but he may not do it. I'm looking at his integrity. I want to see him. And the other thing is, he could push it up to a sympathetic court that might speed things up for him too. So let's find out what he's made of. Trump and 2 lackeys were indicted last year for hoarding classified documents at the South Florida Oceanside mansion, which doubles as a social club that's become a mandatory stop for aspiring Republican politicians. Trump is fighting off 39 felony counts for keeping national defense information without authorization and trying to cover it up. By the way, the 39 felony counts, they're not that different from each other. They're basically just took for every document he had, they made it a different felony count. So it's really one felony count with a ton of documents involved. But they chose to make it look more dramatic and fake by breaking out each one as a separate felony offense. This is stupid. Okay, and being dramatic and political, and they're running it through the press instead of through a courtroom. In recent weeks, Trump has tried to justify his inexplicable hiding of documents by asserting that everything FBI agents found, and by the way, they would never say that Biden is inexplicably had documents all over his dirty garage. In fact, in multiple different locations, in different states, even in different universities that are funded by Chinese money. They never say that in their articles. Okay. Asserting that everything FBI agents found, ranging from proposed war plans against Iran to what appears to be some kind of nuclear information, were actually his personal files. And therefore, he could do with them whatever he pleased. I just want to note that this journalist, okay, is saying this stuff is dangerous. And the FBI is saying it's dangerous that Trump have these things. And then they put in an article that these are war plans against Iran and having some kind of nuclear information. They just told you what's in the documents. That's how scared they are of this stuff leaking out, that Trump has war plans against Iran. And they just now told you what's in the documents. And so that's all Cannon is saying, Judge Cannon is saying, look, you told everyone in the press, just let the jury see it. No, you can't let the jury see it. No. In coming up with how to explain the nation's complex national security restrictions to jurors who will ultimately determine whether Trump is guilty, Cannon came up with a scheme that would make federal prosecutors the most uncomfortable possible. Good federal prosecutors. I want them to be uncomfortable. I think we should make them wear cactus underwear with the spikes going in. That's how uncomfortable they should be. Cannon's evening order alerted federal prosecutors and Trump's legal team that they, quote, must engage with the following competing scenarios, unquote, when considering whether Trump can be charged with, quote, unauthorized possession. Either, quote, a jury is permitted to examine every record a former president swipes and claims as personal to determine whether it is, or jurors must be told that, quote, a president has sole authority to categorize records as personal or presidential during his or her presidency, unquote. That's what the Daily Beast calls giving Trump a win, is for them to either be able to see the document or trust that Trump can determine whether it is, or jurors must hold that a president has sole authority to categorize records as personal or presidential during his presidency. In short, just saying he has a right to classify, declassify, hold them as presidential and righteous under his watch. And if so, I think that's fair. I think that's good. And it's true. The president does have a right to categorize personal or presidential during his or her presidency. Trump was president when he classified these documents. He thought it was implied that he's allowed to do it. Biden didn't do it. Biden didn't take he's been taking his documents for 20 years. Biden has documents that he does not have a right to, does not have a right to classify as anything because he took them before he was president. These are all things that Trump took as president. He has a right to classify them. This is a huge difference, huge unfair political lawfare witch hunt after Trump once again. Rules go one way for Biden and another for Trump. Everyone knows it. Aileen Cannon knows it. The Daily Beast should know it. But they're too much Democrat going up their back tracked all the way up and infecting their mind. The first option would require Smith to allow any of the randomly called potential jurors in this rural stretch of South Florida. You hear that? Rural stretch of South Florida. They're terrified of you people, man. You deplorables, you gap-toothed rednecks, you overall wearing alligator hunting. Hey there, everybody. God and guns and glory. You're that potential jurors in this rural stretch of South Florida. They're angry these aren't the John Kerry octopus fishing on our windsurfer up in Nantucket and East Coast snobbery as we get me more lobster and clam chowder, Jeeves. Or up in Washington, D.C., these criminal, snobby New Yorkers, New York jury that vote 97% Biden. That's what they're angry about. Do you hear that? These potential jurors in this rural stretch of South Florida, these inhuman racists. We already know what they're saying. To suddenly have access to what prosecutors have described as extremely alarming national secrets that they've already told us about war mongering with Iran. Alarming national secrets, by the way, that were locked behind many walls in Trump Mar-a-Lago. By the way, you go try to get in that back room where these documents were kept. You'll go through 5 different security guards. So it wasn't open to public in any way, shape, or form. These documents were not unsafe the way that in Biden's garage, stacked in dirty, broken down boxes, were Biden's documents. The second option would easily, you go break into Mar-a-Lago. Just make a sprint straight back to where these documents are kept, allegedly next to Melania's underwear drawer. That's another assignment that you guys can fulfill. Go try to break into Mar-a-Lago and get to Melania's underwear drawer and see what happens to you. You'll come out black and blue, floating face down in a river. Okay, you're not going to get to these documents. The second option would essentially force jurors to acquit the former president of wrongdoing, given that they'd be told he had unquestionable authority to assert personal ownership over any government document within his reach, a self-justifying rule outside of anyone's review. And now you guys are up to speed on this huge Trump win. We've got you covered. You're back now on this huge Trump win with Eileen Cannon in Mar-a-Lago. Let's find out what Jack Smith does next, what that crybaby does next. Does he appeal it up to a higher court and pretend to have integrity? I'd love to see him pretend to have integrity just once, Jack Smith, you duplicitous scum, you lying scum. Pretend for just 1 second, take it up, appeal it, but then you won't be able to get this judgment before Election Day. And that's all this is, guys, as he's trying to protect what other scam FBI investigation they were going to pull on Trump, but he does not want revealed because it's redacted, so he can't give it up. And I love that too. He's a double lying scum, Jack Smith. And I hope you get fired. The day Trump gets elected, I hope he fires you, removes you, gets a new AG in there and goes, Jack, pack your bags, dude. You're just going to be the new George Stephanopoulos on ABC News. They'll probably hire you as a commentator because your judge days, your special prosecutor days are over because you're a liar who tried to take America apart. Thanks for watching. More videos to come today, guys. You know this channel, 3-4 videos a day. We've been doing a few live streams. If you like it, then the way you reward me is by subscribing, leaving a comment, giving us a thumbs up. Thank you, guys. You're the best audience in the world. I'm talking